There are zones in sports. Tip of the cap to Bill Simmons. He came up with the Tyson zone. You don't know Bill Simmons' work? The Tyson zone is where the stories about Mike Tyson are so bizarre, so outlandish, so wild. There's so many that are true that there's nothing someone could tell you about Mike Tyson that you would go, nah, I don't buy it. Right? Like, had a tiger. He's told stories. He's had his one-man show. He's told other stories like, wow, really? True? Yeah. So now if Mike Tyson came up to you and said, one time my hair was on fire, I was riding a goat, I had a spear in my hand, and I answered the door and had the pizza man put the pizza on the spear, you would go like, yeah, I buy that. Mike Tyson. That's the Tyson zone. Right? Tyson zone. In coaching, there's the Spurrier zone. Steve Spurrier, at the end of his career, well, he's out in South Carolina. Well, used to like to play Georgia first game of the year. They always had a couple guys suspended. Like, wait, okay, that might be true, but can he say that? And the answer is yes. You know why? Spurrier zone. Steve Spurrier was so well respected. Won a Heisman Trophy. Won a national championship at University of Florida. Heisman Trophy in Florida. Won at Duke. And then, hell, got South Carolina to Atlanta. All right. The HBC, that's head ball coach, by the way, can we please not make the classic mistake? We make mistakes in sports broadcasting all the time. It's Nowitzki, not Nowitzki. All right? It's Nowitzki, not Nowitzki. That's the proper pronunciation. Adrian Peterson's nickname is All Day. His initials are AP. If you call him AD, that's actually the correct initials of his nickname, All Day, since he's a kid, because he had energy. They'd say he'd play all day. And Steve Spurrier is not the old ball coach. On all of his gear, it says HBC. He's the head ball coach. So you have the Tyson zone where the stories are so outlandish, so bizarre that are true. There's no story about Tyson that you wouldn't believe. You have the Spurrier zone where a guy has been doing it so long and so well, they can get away, well, saying whatever the hell he wants. And now you have the LeBron zone. What's the LeBron zone? Lamar Jackson had 5 touchdown passes yesterday. The Jets put up somewhat of a fight. It's important to mention that 4 of their best defensive players were out, and they're already not a good team. I know they're good against the run. Technically, they're good against the run. You're like, well, the Jets are good, but it's a different style than anyone else plays or has played in the National Football League with the type of weapon that comes around very, very rarely. But Lamar Jackson was throwing to dudes that were wide open yesterday. Wide ass open. Because the Jets are a bad team. A bad football team. But that doesn't take away from how well the Ravens are playing, how they continue to get a lead, play from ahead, which plays perfectly into their style. They're going to get the number 1 seed in the AFC, which means they're going to get a week off, and it's going to give whoever they play in their first week less time to prepare for their unique style, which gives them a stronger likelihood of getting to an AFC championship game, which seems to be increasingly likely to be played in Baltimore. Hard place to play. You don't luck your way into 39 touchdown passes. By the way, Vegas's over-under was 15 this year. To the people who say Gottlieb is a Lamar hater, all I can tell you is we have tape in August of me saying the best bet you're going to make in the NFL this year is Lamar Jackson is going to throw for more than 15 touchdown passes. Period. Stop. But we have gotten to the place of the LeBron zone, where if you don't say that Lamar Jackson is the MVP and he's revolutionizing the sport, well, then you're a hater and a racist. Whew. Oh, man. What if I think Pat Mahomes is going to have a longer stay atop? No, you're a racist. But he's black. What if I like Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson? No. Because Lamar Jackson got drafted late in the draft because he's black. And they wanted to make him a wide receiver because he's black. No, actually, the truth is, he was so bad in the bowl game that he played for Louisville. Go back and watch the tape. And you're like, yikes. Yikes. His mom was his agent, which now seems endearing. But back then, it was really troublesome. Because normally the way it works is you have a conversation with the guy at a combine. Then you set up a workout. You call the agent. They set it up, and they're there the next day. With Lamar Jackson, sometimes you get a hold of his mom. Sometimes you couldn't. Sometimes she call you back. Sometimes you couldn't. Sometimes you get him on a plane. Sometimes you couldn't. It was a mess. And he's not a take over the room, super verbal type of guy who, like, he's growing and he's clearly a leader of this team, but in a different way than other players in the NFL, the other quarterbacks in the NFL. Look, I'm telling you he's going to win the MVP. I'm not arguing with it, and I think a very strong case can be made. I would also point out that, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers having a pretty damn good year. His team's lost 3 games. Lamar's lost 2. They may end up losing the same number of games, and Green Bay played roughly similar, if not more, or similar schedule, right? Like, we can kind of go back and forth through it. Now, you can go volume of touchdowns with runs and passes and whatever. Like, okay. And I'm not telling you didn't have an impact, but like Aaron Rodgers is the most respected, best guy in the sport. Pat Mahomes got hurt. Somehow that takes him out of the running, but they keep winning. He keeps throwing touchdown passes. Like, I could kind of go through things and try and make you think twice about the reality of no one actually thinks he's the best quarterback in the sport, but they're having the best season in the sport, which would make me think, okay, I'm okay with him. I'm not going to sit here and fight you on the MVP because he's got 33 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. But, like, if you actually take a deep dive, he didn't play well last week against Buffalo. Like, we are aware, right? Like, they got a lead and just hung on, and he struggled against Buffalo's defense because Buffalo's defense is really good. Is that a fair analysis? Like, he hasn't been perfect every week. He feels like he's been close to perfect, especially recently, because they've gone on this incredible win streak, which started against Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and then, they beat Seattle on the road. Reminder, Seattle on the road, he's 9 of 20. He ran and scrambled his way to a win, and the defense had a big pick 6. Keep in mind that throughout this season, there are wins over the Jets, the Dolphins, the Cardinals, 2 over the Bengals. Right, those are among the worst teams in football. And while it was raining, he did throw for just 105 yards, and they needed a missed field goal late to beat the Niners. He hasn't been perfect. So I know he's going to win the MVP. I think Russell Wilson is more valuable to his team because I think the Ravens are a really good football team. Right? The Ravens have a very good defense. And yes, last night aside, they're usually very good on special teams. Last night they were not, but they got a great kicker. I would tell you that in terms of true value, this is the old LeBron James about Steph Curry, true value, Russell Wilson probably does more for his team. I would say the same for Aaron Rodgers. Like, no one thinks the Packers are all that good, but yet here they are atop their division. Why? Because they have Aaron freaking Rodgers. But if you want to tell me that Lamar Jackson's the MVP, I'm okay. I'm totally cool with it. They're the best team in the league. They're playing great football, and he has cut down on his turnovers to where they seem to have disappeared. He's throwing the football better than he has. They're setting the offense to him. They're getting ahead early, and they're dominating the league. But it's not always an open and shut case that my friends in the media are making, that social media is making. And if you want to have an honest discussion about it, you can. It's up for discussion. Do I think he's revolutionizing the sport? Not really. I think Deshaun Watson did this 2 years ago before he hurt his knee. I think RG3 did this back when he was a rookie with the Washington Redskins before he hurt his knee. But if you want to tell me that this is, or that Colin Kaepernick did this with Greg Roman's offense, with a similarly talented defense, special teams, offensive line, when he was in San Francisco and they went to the Super Bowl and lost by 1 play to the Ravens, by the way. We actually have seen this before. It is not all that revolutionary. But if you want to tell me that he's different, that he's special, that he's more athletic, okay. Again, we can have this discussion. But the idea that it is an open and shut case, he's the absolute unanimous MVP. I actually saw Pro Football Talk. Okay, Pro Football Talk is a guy named Mike Florio. Okay, Mike, if you're listening out there, I actually think you do a really good job. You know this league really well. But I believe his tweet last night was, if you vote for anyone else in the MVP race, you should have your vote taken away. Well, let me tell you, that's a democracy if I've ever heard it. That is the most American statement I've ever heard. That, by the way, is part and parcel to what's happened to left-wing politics as they've gone right. Used to be the party of everybody. Now it's the party of everybody who agrees with us. That's where sports has now started to mirror politics. And it becomes nauseating to me. I've said this about LeBron James. He's a great player, an all-time great. And there are many people who believe he's the greatest player to ever play. And you're allowed to have that opinion. I disagree with the opinion. I think Michael Jordan's the greatest player to ever play. I would tell you that in a big game, I'd still rather have Larry Bird than LeBron James, even though he's clearly had a better career than Larry Bird. And then there's the question, would you take Magic ahead of him? Like, what would you do with Kareem and all these other guys? Like, look, it's a really good, fun discussion to have. That's what sports is about. It's debate, and I like this guy, I like that guy. You're wrong. Here's why. That's okay. But the idea that if you say LeBron James isn't the best player on earth, which I said for the last 3 years, I'm like, hey, you know, Kevin Durant's 7 feet tall. He's got an unblockable jump shot. He's won 2 NBA Finals MVPs, playing against LeBron James, guarding LeBron James. LeBron James is guarding him. But if I said that, I'm a LeBron James hater. That's the LeBron effect. The LeBron zone. We somehow, if you're at all critical of LeBron James, you're a hater. You're a, okay, boomer. Right? Or maybe, why is that not disrespectful to Kevin Durant? Why is saying, hey, Lamar Jackson's having a great year. Man, Aaron Rodgers better, Drew Brees better. I don't think he could do or has done what some of these other quarterbacks have done. Russell Wilson is amazing, an absolute magician. Hell, Jimmy Garoppolo was ridiculous last week. If I start going through other guys that may have, I believe will have more longevity because of the history of the NFL, I'm somehow a hater and maybe even a racist because that's why he wasn't drafted higher. Okay. If you think I'm lying, I invite you to go to my Twitter handle. It's @GOTTLIEB SHOW. And because I said, hey, I think Lamar's awesome, going to win the MVP, would take Sam Darnold if I was drafting today because of how he plays, who he is, and the likelihood of a long, successful career because mobile pocket quarterbacks last longer, have more sustained success. I am not only an idiot, should never talk about football because I played basketball, which is always dumb, right? Because other radio hosts didn't play anything. But because I played collegiate and professional basketball, I don't know anything about football. But regardless, I'm an idiot, I'm a hater, and I'm a racist. I kind of think Pat Mahomes is awesome. Deshaun Watson is awesome. And Russell Wilson is my MVP because I don't know how he does it, but the games are always close. And outside of last week, he finds a way to make a play late. That's who he is. And that one Super Bowl throw that was awful. But whatever. That's where we are. So remember, you have the Spurrier zone, you got the Tyson zone, and you got the LeBron zone. So when you think of Lamar Jackson, think of Lamar James. Hey, what up? Doug Gottlieb here. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Fox Sports Radio. You can catch my show, all the shows on Fox Sports Radio, unique interviews, strong takes, just interesting discussion on the sports topic of the day, of the week, of the month. It's all encompassing. It's everything you need right here on YouTube. Subscribe.